moving and shaking and cherrying it up. So welcome everyone to the Dalles Chamber Community Affairs. We love this space where we can bring in different organizations, leaders, and even our legislators to talk to us at this one-on-one level. And yes, Zoom is a little bit different, but it allows us to have speakers from all over instead of them all trying to make it to the Dalles. So with that, we're going to go around the room before we have our guest, Eileen with the Dalles Farmers Market. Give us some information, updates, and all the fun things that the farmers market does for the community, but also what the economic impacts are on that. So we're going to start with Mr. Scott McKay. Would you please introduce yourself and which organization?
Good morning, everyone. I know all of you, but my name is Scott McKay. I'm a community liaison of Circles of Care. One of the best part of the job is going to interview and visit individuals who want to become members of Circles of Care, who are looking for some kind of support. And this week I visited a gentleman in his 80s, and I heard fascinating stories about his work on the Union Pacific Railroad as a signaler. That's one of the great advantages of being a volunteer of Circles of Care. You really get to know an old adult that you may not have known before. So thank you, Lisa.
Cool.
Thank you, Scott. Brian?
Brian Tuck, waiting for our two little grandkids to descend and create lots of chaos here. And Scott, yeah, I know lots of older people, so it's nice to know you there, sir. So anyway, yeah, gotta tease our friends here. So anyway, yeah. Brian Tuck, enjoying retirement.
All right, Bill.
Good morning. Bill Brady, Wasco County Commissioner. In case you're wondering why Easter seems to come early some years and late other years, it's because it's tied to a lunar cycle. Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon after spring equinox. And so depending on whether the first full moon is right after equinox or right before equinox, Easter can be early or late. I'm kind of sleepy this morning. I was trying to be Father of the Year this weekend, helping my daughter prep her house to be sold up in Tacoma. So I've been doing everything from patching cement to trimming to repairing broken tile. One thing I call people's attention, coming up on Wednesday the 3rd, it will be a hearing for Summit Ridge Solar and Wind Power. And Summit Ridge is on Tye Ridge. It'd be close to Max Canyon. So it's not close to Tye Valley. It's further north along the ridge up from Max Canyon. That'll be in Dufur at the gymnasium from 5 to 8 o'clock on Wednesday the 3rd. It's one of the first hearings, and it's not even a hearing. There'll be a presentation. It won't be, it's not official public comment, but they'll be explaining the proposal at that time. That's me.
Thank you, Phil. Corliss.
Good morning, everyone. Corliss Marsh with the Columbia Gorge Habitat for Humanity and the Senior Center, and also the Friends of the Library and the library. So this Saturday, we're having our bag sale, and you buy books by the bag. We have all the bookshelves sort of categorized, and you come at 9 o'clock and you pay $3 for a grocery bag. And if you come at 10 o'clock, it's $2. And if you come at 11, it's $1 a bag, and you just buy whatever books you want. So come on down Saturday morning, 9 to noon, and it's in the parking lot, the upper parking lot of the library in our red book barn. And that's it for me.
Great. Thank you, Corliss. Dan.
Good morning, everybody. Dan Richardson with the Dalles City Council. No major updates or news. Our budget season is getting underway. That's always a significant bit of work, because obviously where you spend money is where you prioritize. So doing some thoughts and work and prep on that, and also the city and developers of various kinds are awfully busy tearing up roads and reworking our 100-year-old water system. And that's about all I have with regard to the city. Thanks.
You. All right, the chamber, just a second, let me get rid of that. The chamber is, like I said, moving forward, all things cherry. The Cherry Festival is the 19th to the 21st. I've put a link up there that takes you to everything that's going on. Please encourage our businesses to participate. It just makes our community shine a little bit more as we do bring outsiders in for this event. And then just so you guys can put on your calendars, April 30th, which is a Tuesday evening at the Senior Center, will be a candidate forum. The ballots are being mailed out the 1st. We will be doing this. We're going to invite every candidate that is running that affects our county. That doesn't mean all of them will come, but they will all receive an invite. We are partnering with Columbia Gorge News, the Mid-Columbia Senior Center, the Wasco County Farm Bureau, and the Dalles Toastmasters. So we are all coming together to help put this on for the community on the 30th. So put that on your calendars. We'll be sending out information hopefully by tomorrow. And if not, it'll be on Monday. As you can imagine, trying to collaborate with lots of organizations and get this and make it all happen. It does take work. So we would love your support. And if you are just a community member and not running, please encourage and share so that people will be coming. And we'll be putting it on the calendar, Facebook as an event. We'll be putting out a press release and all of that, but that's going to be taking course over the next couple days as we are trying to do some of the other stuff. So just keep watching and then help share and do all of those different things. So with that, I'm going to move to our guest, Eileen White with the Dalles Farmers Market. How many years have you been doing this now, Eileen?
Since I became a market manager in 2014. So
Okay.
everybody else
Wow.
do the math. This year it's easier. So I guess this will be my 10th year.
There you go. All right. So with that, I'm going to let Eileen take over. I'm going to help if there's any questions. We are a small group, but still it does get, when you do anything with your screens and present, I'll watch for questions on the chat and for hands raised. And please don't hesitate. The engagement and the conversation always makes these better. And we are actually recording this and we're putting it on our YouTube. So if anybody has questions later, they can go and watch this and learn some too. So with that, go ahead, Eileen, and thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I echo what Lisa was saying. Please feel free to do a raised hand in that. I'll let Lisa moderate who gets to jump in. I just signed up for this a few days ago, so I'm going to be kind of casual. First, I'm going to kind of talk about what happened last year, which was really our first kind of completely COVID-free year. In 2022, we didn't have the COVID restrictions in that, but there was still the echo of COVID, I like to say. People were still, a little wary. People weren't making solid plans and things the same. And that impacted our attendance this year. We averaged 865 folks a day. That was down from just over 1,000 the year before. But we did hear a lot of anecdotal evidence of people that they were going to their 30th high school reunion that was supposed to happen in 2020 or 2021 or even 2022, a lot of delayed weddings, extended vacations, that sort of thing. So we think that impacted our attendance quite a bit. And as I'm sure everybody here knows, it's a whole different world post-COVID. So, but, there was a time 10 years ago, my first day of the market, we had 383 people attend the market my first day, and we all thought that was pretty good. So I'm still very happy with almost 900 day average. And despite our lower attendance overall, we did have the second highest day of attendance in the record of the market, which was over 1,400 people. So that's pretty good. It kind of just shows patterns. We had a total of 47 vendors throughout the year, and that's vendors, not counting sponsors or nonprofits. That's down slightly, again, from the year before. During 20 and 21 especially, we had a lot of what I called COVID vendors, folks that maybe they weren't going on vacation, they were looking things to do to get out there and socialize, do things with family members, folks that had grown a lot of vegetables and needed to get rid of them. So we had a lot of more vendors there. But 47, that's still pretty good. The interesting thing is we, in 2022, our average number of vendors per time was just over 25 per market, but last year we had an average of 28 vendors per market. And again, that counts just vendors, not nonprofit and sponsor booths. So the folks that were coming more consistently. A loss that we did have this year it was finally the year that Sunny Days Farm, the Lutzes, Hugo and Marlene finally stopped vending. In 2022, they still managed to make it to about 6 or 7 markets, but you know they're almost 90 now, and it's the end of an era. As I know, folks that shop there know that they were a stalwart, one of the original vendors, along with Barbara Pashik and some others. Some good news, though, we had 15 new vendors. We had 2 vendors that came back in a different form that had vended a few years ago. We finally, since post-COVID, had our first hot food vendor again, hot Filipino food. It took about maybe to the last third of the market just because of permitting and all that kind of stuff, but it was actually really fabulous food. I had never had Filipino food before, although I was surprised at how many people in the Dalles were very familiar with it. So it was very great. It's very similar to Chinese food, and they have assured me they're going to come back again. Another kind of nice breakthrough last year is for years we've struggled to have enough baked goods. We'd get bakers and the life change had happened, and this year we had a total of 7 vendors that offered baked goods. 3 of them, baker was their main product, and then we had 3 farmers that also offered different baked goods. We actually had 2 sourdough vendors, very different types of sourdough, so you know, that adds some variety. And this year we also began a new category called service, and this was to accommodate some folks that would bring value to the market but didn't necessarily fall into our old categories of farmer, butcher, baker, a candlestick maker kind of thing. And this year we had a massage therapist as a vendor and a knife sharpener, and we felt that the massage therapy goes to our overall health in that, and also farmers markets are small business incubators, and she was new to the area trying to get her massage therapy business off the ground. And we had a knife sharpener, which goes to food and healthy eating and making prep easy. So those were the 2 categories, but we may, you know, have some other vendors that fall into that service category where we might not have been able to accommodate those folks before. Overall, our I don't know, maybe we'll have a little participation. Does anybody want to guess what our total gross sales for the season were at Farmers Market? I don't know, Lisa's head is going.
Total for how many weeks was the market?
Weeks.
What was
4
that
hours
again?
a day, 4 hours a week.
And once again, how many weeks?
20.
20.
I'm going to go 200,000. I was thinking 10,000 a week.
Okay, well, I think you need to join our board because you're pretty close. We were actually just over 250,000,
Wow.
which is a huge impact on the community because those are all local dollars. And my husband's always wanting to remind me, you're there for 4 hours once a week. And that's pretty good numbers even if we were open full time. And when folks shop at a farmer's market, $100 spent at a farmer's market, 62 of those stay in the community, 99 stay in the state. That same $100 spent at a supermarket, only 25 stays in the community. And when you buy direct from a farmer, they keep 72% more of their profits than when there is a middle person. So that is huge impact on our economics for the community. We continued to have live music again last year, and it was the third year of our Friends of the Market program. It's basically a way for average citizens that maybe it's not appropriate for them to sponsor as a business would. And we have different levels starting at $25. And you get little perks as you go up. And so that was successful. We're working on improving it again for this year, kind of tweaking it. I'm looking at my notes here. And we added more logoed merchandise. We had shopping bags for a while, and we've had mugs for a couple of years, but we added some caps, which were quite popular, and T-shirts as well to our things, so our folks can support us that way and help us get our logo and that out in the community. We also, during COVID, we suspended our Power of Produce program, POP, which is for kids between the ages of 4 and 16. Every time they come to the market, they can get a $2 token to spend on fresh produce in the market. This is to encourage kids to learn what how good berries are and venture into some other things. During COVID, because we were it's not fair to tell kids not to touch, to social distance and that. So we brought the POP program back in 22, but it was a bit of a slower start. This last year in 23, we were back up to pre-pandemic numbers in terms of kids coming and getting the POP tokens and shopping and learning to eat non-processed foods. Another change up we had is in 22 we brought back our pie contest that we'd had for many years, but we didn't get the participation that we wanted, so we switched things up and changed it to an everything pumpkin baking contest, which opened up a huge variety, and that was hugely popular. And I have to say, I would feel sorry for the judges because everything was so good. We sold. People would enter their things. We had prizes up to $100, I think, was our first prize. And then we sold the pieces of things that were donated off as a fundraiser. We continued with our SNAP programs, and SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Something Program, AKA food stamps. Through grants, we have matching funds, and a lot of folks don't realize that we do take EBT cards, food stamps at the farmer's market. How it works is folks come to the manager's booth and run their card, and then they get tokens that they can spend throughout the market. Through our grant programs that we had last year and other years, we had a grant where if somebody on the first $10 of their that they run their food stamp card, we matched with an additional 10 tokens that can be used on any SNAP eligible item. And on the first 20, there's a program sponsored by Farmers Market Fund called Double Up Food Bucks that they get vouchers that can be used only on fresh produce. So if somebody ran their card for $20, they walked away each week with $50 worth of currency they could spend in the farmer's market. Sometimes there are folks that go, God, that's, you're giving a lot to people that are on subsistence, but it really is a win-win situation, in my opinion. We get disadvantaged folks eating healthier food, which in the long run pays off. And again, going back to supporting our local economy, those directly support our farmers. And then that money stays in our community, which we all know how things cycle through. Also, I didn't realize this until I was the farmers market manager. There are a lot of folks that just don't get that much money. They're on food stamps, but they may only get $20 a month or $50 a month. So being able to extend that is really a benefit. And again, really benefits our local farmers and vendors.
Eileen,
Yes.
you might, before we bring this up, I have a couple of questions. Could I interrupt and go in? First, fun question. What's the most popular sale item? What sells more than other things?
In the whole market or at the market manager booth?
Whole market?
I would, okay, well, I'm going to say this, and I would probably say one of our most popular vendors is Zion Lettuce.
Yep.
My joke is, you know, they've got a cult following, and the years where they don't have enough lettuce to go to the end of the season, I say we have to do grease counseling, because there's always people, no matter how much Gary and Lori tell people, you know, week after next will be our last week, there's always somebody that comes and is almost in tears saying, where's Zion? And I said, well, last week was their last week. And they said, but I was in Seattle. And then they just stare with a blank stare for a while. So I would say Zion Lettuce.
So we've got two more
flowers,
questions.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like, which is your favorite child? But I would say that's a big draw. We have people that come in and only get lettuce, which, you know, we'd love to change, to have them stop and get some of the fabulous tomatoes and things along the way.
The another question, what's your policy on information booths? If someone wants to, you know, promote some program or something happening.
Yeah, I was actually going to get to that later, but we do, during COVID, we stopped having nonprofit booths, but we allow one nonprofit booth per market, and we provide the tent and a table for them. They need to set up. Scott with Circle of Care participated in this last year, so basically what folks they do is they fill out a vendor application and pick the dates they most like to want. And I always say if there's a special thing, for instance, if they're promoting a particular event, say in years past, Discovery Center was promoting a special event, we would try to be able to have that nonprofit have their event at a good time to promote their event. Friends of the Library, we used to put them in just before one of their book sales. Nonprofits are able to fundraise, you know, have a bake sale, sell tickets to an upcoming event or that.
Okay, I have one last question, then I'll let you get back.
Oh, no.
Get
Felt like I
back
was
into your
rattling.
agenda. I'll call this a product exchange. I grow my own lettuce and kale and eggs, but I produce a lot more eggs than I need. So I've done it a couple times, and I don't know if it was a policy. I would bring down 2 dozen cleaned eggs and say, can you give, and I come to the manager desk and would you give me $3 in tokens for these eggs? And then you were probably selling them for $5. So I was doing that on the side. Is that something that could be encouraged or discouraged?
If you're doing it with a vendor, that's up to that. We're very lucky in the state of Oregon. We have a lot of great laws that allow for cottage bakers and things. Eggs have certain restrictions on them that and a lot of these restrictions aren't as great as you see. If you're working with a vendor, that's fine. We used to do consignment sales at the farmers market booth. We stopped that this last year because we wanted to promote more of our merchandise. We still take donations to sell. Eggs are slightly different, but if you've got something worked out with a vendor, that's fine. But we, at the market manager's booth, I don't think it would be kosher for us to buy them from you. You know, if you wanted to, we certainly would be happy to give some to our musicians, which we have live music every week, and our musicians kind of, you know, sing for their supper. We also have a lot of really great volunteers that don't get paid that, you know, we'd love to give some eggs or produce for, that if somebody wanted to drop that off for specific purpose.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions while we're stopped here? Okay. We also launched a new website. It's still in progress, but it is better than our old one. It had been established many, many years ago and was getting very, very clunky. So that happened, and as we just talked about, we started having nonprofit booths back. One of our really fabulous things that we did this last year was the entrance at the north end of the park, the main entrance, has been kind of a trip hazard for years and years. And there was sort of a no man's land there where Parks and Rec owned this, somebody else owned this, the city had to be involved. And finally, everybody got together, entrance much improved. They moved the crosswalk to a much more practical area. So that was really a great accomplishment. It made it much more accessible for a lot of our population attending the market, and it made it a lot easier for our vendors to get in and out as well. One of the things we're moving forward towards this next year is we're going to be hiring a market associate. You know, with those increased numbers and more programs and things, we need a little more help in the booth. The market associate is going to be for somebody basically from 7 until 2 for the 20 Saturdays of the market. We're going to pay $17 an hour. It's a great opportunity maybe for a teacher, somebody that wants to have a part-time job. They'll get a lot of good experience, and it is a lot of fun. I gave Lisa, and I saw in the chat, she put a link to the requirements and what we're looking for. So we really would love any help in the community to get the word out. It's going to be a lot of fun, a good position, and we would love to talk to anybody that's mildly interested in that. We're going to be updating our Friends of the Market program, some of the little gifts we give away in that. We had a lot of repeat friends, so we decided they probably didn't need another refrigerator magnet and that sort of thing. We're also re-upping our sponsorship program. We hadn't worked with changing the levels or anything in several years, so that is something we're working on and should be rolling out fairly shortly. We also, there is a good chance that we may get some additional funding to our SNAP Match program with the food stamps, that we may be even able to match more for folks. So that we're hoping that that comes through. And we're going to try to expand our POP program a little more, maybe even having samples, small samples of vegetables and things for kids to try when they pick up their tokens, just to get that little extra edge. One thing we see is that, you know, a parent can tell their kids to eat their vegetables and that, but when there's a friendly exchange at the market, you actually hear 6-year-olds asking mom if they can get green beans again and different things, just because of that little extra interaction. So we're going to try to promote that, have a few more kids activities. It looks like we're going to be able to do more food demos and have a lot of food demos that are geared towards getting younger people to be excited about eating more healthy. And then some folks, you know, a lot of us don't realize everybody doesn't in their kitchen have the same equipment that everybody does. So we're going to try to do some food demonstrations with the same type of food that, hey, you know, some people don't have an oven or they don't have a stove top or that sort of thing, to be able to prepare great food that's available at the market at a very low threshold. Another thing we want to get through is there is a misconception that food purchased at a farmer's market is more expensive than at a grocery store. We've done some studies ourselves, and it's not the case. We used to have a poster where it showed stuff bought at Fred Meyer. I guess I shouldn't say that. It's at a grocery store and our place, and it was actually 40% less at the farmer's market than it was at the supermarket, and that doesn't take into consideration that the tomatoes at our farmer's market may be organically grown, even though they don't have the official stamp of the approval, and comparing them to the price of regular tomatoes at the market. Also, you know, we were talking about Zion lettuce there. That lettuce lasts forever. I have been at parties where people are almost having contests at how long they said it kept fresh. And that's because the average vegetable at your grocery store, it takes 7 days from when it leaves the farm till it gets to the market. That doesn't count shelf time in the back room, and travels 1,500 miles. So you already have something that is probably more than a week fresher, and that goes to less waste in your refrigerator, less packaging, so you don't have to take out the trash as much, save the 2 cents on the trash bag. Something else I like to point out is sometimes people balk at the price per pound on, say, organic apples or something like that. But if you've ever done the math on how much potato chips cost per pound, $3.99 for apples is a bargain. So I just like to put that out there. Also, you know, the farmers market in the Dalles. Where else in the Dalles? Where else in the gorge can you go aside from maybe Cherry Festival, Lisa, where you can go and you can hit 25, 30 different businesses all in one swoop, and at the same time listen to music, have your lunch, run into neighbors, visit with a nonprofit, a local business that's sponsoring the market, have that quality time to find out about them.
I
have kind of statistics and things like that. Does anybody, I feel like I've been talking a lot, have any other questions or things?
I remember when I lived in Venezuela, regular shopping was like this, because I'd go to one store for cheese, another store for bread, another store for meat. And at each store, there was a personal interaction. I came home and I was listening to the radio, and they were talking about 12 ways to simplify your Christmas. All 12 of them were to mail order your turkey, mail order this, mail order that, or now go online. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm getting this nice personal relationships happening every week for my shopping that don't get by mail order.
Yeah, that's true. And that's also another advantage of a farmer's market. When a person shops at a farmer's market, they have an average of 10 interactions with people, which is very important for senior citizens and folks that don't get out much. When you shop at a supermarket, you only have an average of 3 interactions with people.
Sometimes.
Thanks, Dan. I see you're leaving.
Thanks, Eileen. This is great. Really appreciate you guys at the farmers market.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, we're always looking for vendors. We're always looking for folks to join our board and committees. And we are always looking for sponsors and volunteers. The threshold to be a volunteer, we have a lot of duties. Also on our website, there's a place where it describes some of them. And you don't have to make a huge commitment to volunteer. You know, we have some special events where if you just want to come one time, Corliss has volunteered, and she seemed to have a good time, so I don't know if you want to disagree with me, Corliss.
I agree. It's a great place to just to visit with people. I mean, it's more fun visiting and while you're working. So it's great.
Yeah, yeah, a great way, because people like Corliss or Scott, if you ever wanted to come by, people see you and know about things and ask about what you're doing, so you can promote your special interests in the community.
So tell me, what is the difference between your membership fee and your vendor fee?
So to be and I thank you, to be a vendor, you must join the market, which is a $40 fee for the year. And then each time one vends, it is $25. We just raised it. It used to be $20, but we are among the lower priced farmers markets in the area. So the vendor fee is, the booth fee is $25 per market, and to vend you need to join. We do have a special program. If somebody is a farmer and wants to join the market, at my discretion, we allow farmers to come 2 times without paying the membership fee and just pay the booth fee. But crafters need to join before they pay. With sponsors, at our different sponsor levels, you can come and have a booth a certain amount of time depending on the level that you sponsor.
I got another question. So the kind of question goes, it's about other farmers market in the area and has a couple of dimensions on it. One is, our farmers are, am I right that our farmers are going to several different farmers market in the area, and that creates a scheduling problem for the vendors? And how is it that we got the best day of the week, Saturday, to have the farmers market here?
It was established on Saturday a long time before, when I moved to the Dalles in '07, it was at the Chamber lot, and it was on Saturday. Hood Rivers used to be on Sunday, and a few years ago they changed to Saturday. Gorge Grown, which is a food access organization that runs a couple of farmers markets. They run the White Salmon Farmers Market, which is on Thursday. They run the Hood River Farmers Market, which is also on Saturday, and they run a winter market. They also run a market in Parkdale, I believe, and they are in charge of the mobile market, which goes around to different areas. A lot of our, and I will say this, I do have vendors say that the Dalles Farmers Market is their favorite market. Partly we're in the park. Our vendors have a reputation of being supportive and helping each other out. We have a really great experience, so we have that. There are folks like Sandoz that used to do a lot of different farmers markets, and they have their farm stand too. So, I encourage other farmers to do other farmers markets. Sometimes they tell other vendors that they should be vending at the the Dalles Farmers Market as well. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, in the sense that there are fewer than I thought, other farmers markets.
Yeah, and I would encourage folks, when you travel in that, visit farmers markets. It's a great way to learn things. We don't get as many tourists as, say, the Hood River Farmers Market does, but we do get folks that stop, and it's interesting how often we are referring the tourists that come to the area to other local businesses. My favorite was some folks from Canada, that they were looking on the freeway and looking at trees and wondering what they were, and somehow they saw we had a farmer's market, and they thought, oh, there might be somebody there that knows what these trees are, and they stopped. And while they were here during the eclipse, it turned out the husband had left all his folded T-shirts on top of the dryer. So we had referred him to
Oh.
St. Denny's and then Kmart and that to get some new clothes. We've had a few people that forgot to pack their cell phone chargers and different things and referred them to Staples. Wineries and the other businesses, but those are two of
Eileen?
my favorites.
Eileen, do you still have the 100-mile rule? Like the flower
Yeah.
vendor?
Yeah. In our vendor rules, it's a 100-mile radius from the Dalles, which actually is pretty encompassing. A and B, our flower vendors come from Walla. But no, like somebody from Seattle could not vend unless they had a location here.
Has anyone ever considered selling wine or beer products?
We do. We have we've had since we got approval from the Parks Department, we've had 3 wine vendors, and we've had Sailor Winery has been our vendor since 2020, and last I heard they are on board to come back. They actually kind of took out, our cheese vendor didn't have the bandwidth to have their own booth anymore, so Sailor Winery started selling the cheese, and last year, same thing with the Columbia mushrooms, just didn't have the staffing to do our market, so Sailor Winery stepped up selling Columbia mushrooms as well as Cascadia Creamery cheese. We've not yet had a beer vendor. The last couple years we've had a whiskey and vodka vendor, local farmer.
Yeah. Do seasonal workers come to the farmers market?
Not as much as we'd like. We would, and that's kind of has been an ongoing goal to outreach to get more of the seasonal workers and Spanish-speaking folks to come to the market. So if anybody has any help in that regard, we certainly would love, especially, another goal is to get out, to let folks know about our match program with the food stamps, especially because this area was, again, approved for the student SNAP cards.
A lot of the workers work on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. I was
And
gonna say that
as the
that's-
market goes on, they're gone. They have moved on. And a lot of them don't qualify for the SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't see them.
Oh, okay.
They're working sometimes 7 days a week, shifting through that, and then they also double up. So if they can only do so many hours because of the new ag laws, they'll be working at one orchard for those hours, and then they'll be going and they actually job share. So they want to get in as many hours as they can. So they'll be working for 2 different orchards so they can maximize that and then stay within the compliancy. So they're going to be busy, and usually there's only one vehicle. And so if the husband and wife are working, the kids, older, most of the family's going to be working, but that is the challenges of that seasonal worker. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I may tell a story of living in Venezuela, we had open air markets all the time. And so there was an indoor market called the Feria, and shopping there for vegetables, I would get a big gunny sack and I would load it up with vegetables, put all the vegetables into the same sack. And then I would weigh that sack and pay by the pound, and they had calculated an average price of that. So I was getting a mixed bag, basically. Purpose of that was to encourage people to put variety into their diet. Now, outside the Feria, there were a couple other established shops inside the Feria. There was groceries. It was great. There's one type of toilet paper, 2 types of coffee, and 3 types of cereal. We didn't have a huge selection, but it was great. And really great cheese and bacon. It was so good. It was thick sliced. And then outside was the informal market, which was, if you think of an open air market, this was it. There would be one booth with lingerie, the next booth with old auto parts, the next booth with fish, and there we were bartering in and out. So it was like the feria, the established market brought people in, and then the informal market around it was for the bartering, and that was kind of, everybody had their space. They got there early in the morning to keep claiming their same space. It was a lot of fun. I miss it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, people would
yeah.
say to me when it come up to bartering, "Oh, for you, sir, we have a very special price." And I thought, "Oh no, my special price is way up here."
Yeah.
Yeah. I love bartering and negotiating and that, so that's always fun. Any other questions or comments or?
You did such a good job of explaining. We don't have any questions now.
Oh, okay. I kind of felt battling on for a while, but
No. And then I encourage you guys to copy and paste that first column that I put in there, because that has all the information for anything that's going on and further. And it's also got Eileen's contact info for the farmers market. So.
And I encourage anybody to please contact me anytime. I have the farmers market phone. That's the phone number there. And don't worry about what time of day it is or what day of the week. If it's not convenient, I don't answer, and then I'll get back to you. But I don't keep business hours. And again, we really need to fill that market associate. Well, I guess maybe it's a little early in the morning. Anyway, we need to fill that new position.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, well, if we don't have that, we've talked about all the things going on, and that community calendar is the best spot that you can find. And if your event is not on there, you need to put it on there. So that is the address we use for the web, but it's also the Dalles Chamber, and go to the community calendar. That will get you there. And just it's so easy. It just says add event, and you can add your event right there, lickety split, and make sure it's on that calendar, because that is what we refer to everybody as far as what's going on in our community. So be sure to check that out also. And then don't forget, we will need lots of volunteers to make things happen for the Cherry Festival. It just takes the entire community to make sure we have all kinds of funds, but things are done efficiently. We are still looking for sponsors to help pay for that also. So don't hesitate. Even if it's just an hour, we'll take you. I'm not that picky. Maybe on Scott. But no, we have lots of room and lots of opportunity. And there again, put on April 30th as the space holder for the candidate forum. We will be doing that. That it is definitely a presenting all candidates for an opportunity to answer the same questions for each of the positions, so that it is a very fair and presented, no party particular. And so we like that. And that's what the Chamber's job is to do that and provide that for our community. So if you don't have anything more, Eileen, I don't have anything more, and we can give people an extra 7 minutes. How's that? You given the gift of time. So everybody, thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, have a fantastic weekend. We've got sunshine out there. Enjoy and go breathe. Thank you.